Exclusive: Iran's Revolutionary Guards arrest more dual nationals. London, Reuters. Iran's Revolutionary Guards have arrested at least 30 dual nationals during the past 2 years, mostly on spying charges, according to lawyers, diplomats and relatives, twice as many as earlier reported by local or international media. The number marks a sharp rise since 2015, when an international nuclear deal raised hopes of détente with the West. In the years before that, the number of dual nationals detained at any given time was in single figures. It also points up a new trend, as a majority of those arrested since then, 19 out of the 30, have citizenship in Europe. Previously, most of the detainees were Iranian Americans. Detainees' relatives and lawyers said the guards were using them as bargaining chips in international relations and to put off European firms that sought business in Iran after the government agreed the deal with world powers to lift sanctions. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has vast business interests as well as being Iran's most powerful security force, and has criticized the government for handing contracts to foreigners. The guards did not respond to several requests for comment. The Iranian government referred Reuters to the judiciary, which also did not respond to repeated approaches. Iranian authorities have previously denied holding detainees for ransom and accuse Western governments of holding Iranians on trumped-up charges. Relatives of dual nationals detained in Iran, their lawyers and Western diplomats shared information such as name, date of arrest and any charges, on condition neither they nor the detainees were identified, citing fear of repercussions. Iran does not routinely announce arrests or charges and does not recognize dual nationals, whose rights to consular assistance are enshrined in the UN Vienna Convention. In all cases, the sources said the detainees had not carried out any espionage and were arrested only because of their second citizenship. They explained their willingness to share details by saying they had been kept in the dark by both the Iranian authorities and Western governments. Several governments argue that maintaining a low profile is in the best interests of the detainees. This is very much what guides our approach, a UK government source said. Dutch Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Daphne Kermans said identifying detainees could get the prisoners into trouble. Some relatives only break their silence once their initial hopes have been dashed. The wife of Ahmad Reza Jalali, a Swedish-based Iranian scientist arrested in 2016 after attending a conference in Tehran, decided to speak out in February. "We were all hopeful that he would be released soon. He was calling us from jail, saying he had not been officially charged. They had told him that he would be released after answering a few questions," Vita Morania said by telephone from Stockholm. "I made the case public to media after 9 months, when he was threatened with a death sentence by a prosecutor and went on a hunger strike," she added. Jalali was sentenced to death in October on espionage charges. Swedish Foreign Minister Margot Wallström said at the time, "We will point out that this will affect the relationship with the EU, and this in a time when Iran and the EU need to cooperate, not least with the nuclear deal we have with Iran." The deal to lift sanctions in return for curbs on Iran's nuclear program was international, but significant U.S. restrictions remained in place. Official confirmation of new arrests sometimes emerges indirectly. Records of a session of the European Parliament in June 2017 showed 3 Dutch Iranian nationals were in jail in Iran. Only one case has been reported. Asked about the 2 unknown cases, Dutch Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Kermans told Reuters the individuals were arrested in November 2012 and January 2016, and said government actions were mostly aimed at ensuring an honest trial, not demanding release. It is very difficult for the Dutch government to lend support since Iran does not recognize the Dutch nationality of the prisoners and gives little to no information about them, she said. In January 2016, then British Prime Minister David Cameron raised the issue of 3 dual UK-Iran nationals held in Iranian prisons in a phone call with Iranian President Hassan Rouhani, according to a transcript posted on the Downing Street website. Only 2 of those cases were known to the public at the time. Contacted for comment, a UK Foreign Ministry spokesman declined to specify how many British-Iranian dual nationals had been arrested. London raised all cases with Iran at every available opportunity, he said. Nazmine Zaghari Ratcliffe, an Iranian British aid worker employed by the Thomson Reuters Foundation, was arrested in April.